How's it going, Pokemon Mosh Pit? It has been a fairly long time since I posted on this channel, and I don't really have an excuse for that, but what I do know is that it is good to be back. So, for those of you that might not actually know who I am on account of how long it's been since I've posted to this channel, my YouTube channel name is QuandoRen66. You can feel free to call me Elo, either or works, and if you enjoy this narration, my channel link will be in the description. You can go check that out, but you gotta have a narration to enjoy first, right? So, what I have for you guys today is one of my first ever Black and White 2 matches against a guy by the name of Super Blah 411. You may know him around these parts as Nick. Nick likes to bring stuff to matches. I like to bring stuff to matches. So we were in a Skype call and we were like, let's have a game. And this is, you know, kind of what happened. I decided that I was going to go ahead and bring one of the new Genie forms, and I guess he did too. That was kind of a mutual thing, just because Black and White 2 new forms everywhere. You gotta bring them. You gotta bring one, especially right now. You know, it's gonna be tons of fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and lead off with my Politoed. My team being a little bit more rain oriented, but still not like a total rain team, just because I slapped two fairly random things in the last slots. And he ends up bringing this new Tornadus thing with Thunder, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna hurt anything except for Pikachu. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch in Pikachu right now. And all that ends up happening is I end up getting a Lightning Rod boost. Now, I do know that Pikachu is fairly fast, but I do know that the new Thunderous form did not lose that much speed, and I don't know anything about it yet. I don't know if he's Life Orb, I don't know if he's Lefties, I don't know if he's Choice for that matter. You know, I don't want to ride on the fact that he might be Choice on the first turn, so I'm going to go ahead and make a double switch out to Jynx, maybe expecting to take a Focus Blast. I do have Dry Skin on this thing and Lefties, so I can kind of regain a little bit of that HP fairly fast. Now, the double switch ends up being that I go out into Jynx and he goes out into Houndoom. That could have been fairly risky going for the sub, just based on the fact that both of these guys have base 95 speed. And if he was invested in speed, then, you know, there could have been a potential speed tie there. He could have taken me out with a Dark Pulse, that kind of thing. That would have been pretty nasty. So I decided to go out into Hitmontop to take another Dark Pulse. I believe he ends up predicting my switch and going for a Will-O-Wisp, or just trying to go for Will-O-Wisp in general. Ends up missing. This Hitmontop doesn't really end up attacking at all in this match, so it's fine. It just ends up going for a Toxic, and then I don't really attack with it, like, ever. It's probably just going to take hits, if that. That's what I kind of decide for it at that point, since a lot of the things, Hitmontop is really just there to be a spinner. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out on account of the fact that that's all it's going to be, just a spinner. And I'm going to go into my new Tornadus form, and then while this stuff happens, we can just kind of talk about it. So I'm going to go for sub, end up dodging a status. That's half the reason I went for it anyway. And the new Tornadus form is pretty cool. It's got Regenerator. It's quite a bit faster than its other form, but it's also got a little bit of an attack cut. It has a little bit more defense, I believe 10 more in each of its defensive stats, and quite a bit more in speed, but it has taken a 15 base stat cut in spec attack, and I don't know how much in attack, but it still does alright, you know, with sub and a Life Orb, that kind of thing. You can kind of just be up to your little Hurricane shenanigans, and then switch out after you've taken a little bit too much damage, that kind of thing. You know, one sub and then Life Orb is probably roughly equal to the amount that you'll end up getting back from Regenerator. So that's pretty cool to, you know, get the sub up on the switch, just go for a hit, switch out, come back in, you got all your HP back, and it kind of works out. So made quick work of that Cofagrigus. He told me it was sub split, and that's why he was kind of upset to have been Toxic. I thought he was going to be Sleep Talk, since that's kind of a thing that can happen in this generation. Now, a lot of things do end up getting Sleep Talk, but he's got the sub split going on, and yeah, so he ends up switching out into his Tornadus. Now, I do know for a fact now that this thing is Choice Scarf, just based on the fact that he hit me with a Focus Blast before I was able to hit him with a Hurricane. Very valuable information to have there. But he ended up going for the Focus Blast just because of Pikachu, you know, to nail that thing. He could have gone for that or an HP Ice. I think the better move would have been to try to nail that with an HP Ice, since he would have been faster than both of those Pokemon in those counts. But that's what happened. So he ends up switching out and kind of not wanting to go for Focus Blast on a Politoed, or, you know, risk taking Ice Beam and that kind of thing. Switches out into a Smeargle. I think this thing is like Choice Band with some really, really powerful moves, hence the name, but you're not going to get to see any of them. He has used it on his channel before, which is slightly amusing. But he's going to go into his Haxorus now after having that thing wrecked by a Scald, and I believe I go for a Perish Song here. And I was kind of banking on the fact that he wouldn't be like a Choice Banded one. That would have been pretty bad for me, since I don't know whether or not I can actually take a Choice Banded Outrage. I am physically defensive, but I feel like I may be overestimating Politoed a little bit, especially since after, you know, +1, a Dual Chop almost takes me out. But I'm going to try to go for a Scald, get a burn, and just stall out a little bit of Perish Song turns, because if he did turn out to be the DD variant when I went for Perish Song, that means, you know, that he wouldn't end up staying in here for too long, and you'd have to make a decision whether or not he wants to sacrifice his Haxorus to try to get a little bit of damage off on my team, or if he's just going to go ahead and switch it out, which is probably the main thing that I'm going to want to happen. That way Jinx can, you know, maybe potentially be faster than it if he's running like a bulky spread or something like that, and then, you know, just deal with it later is what I'm trying to do here. So we're both going to end up switching out, double switch here just to preserve our Pokemon from Perish Song. He ends up going out into his Conkeldurr. I end up going out into my Hitmontop. Not exactly the best switch, but not a bad one thanks to Intimidate. So this thing is now at -1. That's kind of cool. I'm going to decide to go into my Politoed as death fodder, you know, for whatever move he's going to want to go for. If he want to go for Bulk Up, I don't know what set he's running at the time, but he just goes for a Drain Punch. Pretty damn popular move on this thing. You know, the majority of them tend to carry him, so kind of expecting that, and that's what ended up happening. It gives me a safe switch into my Tornadus, which is probably the most important part, and I'm going to go for a Hurricane here, because why the hell not? You know, it's Stab, it's Life Orb, and it's going to be pretty cool. So he goes into his Houndoom here, and this thing takes it really, really well, and I'm like, Nick, what is going on here? And he tells me that this is a defensive Houndoom, and I was just like, well, shit. This actually kind of looks like a 2-hit KO. Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, you know, try to get that min-max damage variation going on. I don't know which one happened to be which, but it turns out to be a 2-hit KO even after leftovers. So that kind of gave me a little, you know, smile on the face there for a moment. But he's going to go ahead and bring this thing in again. I do just want to leave this thing in his death fodder, because I can go ahead and switch in something depending on what he does. He's not going to go for a Focus Blast. He's going to go for a Thunder or an HP Ice or something else. If he wanted to go for the Thunder, I could go to Pikachu immediately after, but he did go for Hidden Power. I'm assuming it's Ice, and I'm going to end up going out into my Jinx, which is going to go ahead and give me the free opportunity to Lovely Kiss anything on his team, or at least attempt to. It's got 75 accuracy, so I'm kind of surprised I hit it, but I do end up hitting it, and much to my surprise, this actually turns out to be a Sleep Talk Conkeldurr, and this is one of my first run-ins with these guys, and it's got Ice Punch too, so these are both tutor moves on it. Very handy in this situation, because it actually gives it something to hit me with. Not that Ice Punch really matters. Jinx is very, very fragile on the physical defensive side, so what I'm banking on is subbing until he either like misclicks on the Sleep Talk, or he ends up Sleep Talking Rest. But he ends up waking up on the second turn, I believe, there, and then just going for the Sleep Talk. Now, this is an interesting series of plays, because I do predict him to try to go for the Sleep Talk just based on the fact that I'm going to go for the Lovely Kiss, or I do have the potential to go for Lovely Kiss. So I'm going to Calm Mind right in his face, right as he Sleep Talks, and I nail it right on the money. Now, it's on this next turn that I could go for another Calm Mind, but I think going for the Lovely Kiss right now to maybe catch him a little bit off guard, just switch up the order of the moves, is going to be beneficial, and that is exactly what ends up happening. So now I'm +1, still behind my sub, and this thing is still asleep, so this thing's going to eat an Ice Beam, and it takes it very poorly. You know, Jinx is actually pretty good on the special attacking side. The problem is it's just so damn fragile on the physical defensive side. But after I take this thing out, if I can be behind a sub by the time Haxorus comes out, it should be smooth sailing from now on. So this thing is still asleep. I'm not going to bother with this whole substituting thing going on, you know, trying to bank on rest. I figure, you know, we'll just take this thing out. I can deal with Haxorus as it comes along later. I do still have a Scarf Honchkrow, and as long as he doesn't go for a Dragon Dance here, that'll be fine. But it turns out that this thing is actually Adamant and not Jolly. That does make a difference, because Adamant Haxorus is slower, Jolly is faster. He definitely would have been able to take me out with any one of his moves. Did not matter. But because I'm faster, I end up taking him out, and all he really has to go for is the Focus Blast. I personally would have gone for the Thunder, because that would have done a substantial amount more damage, but I'm pretty sure even after the +1 from Calm Mind, it would not have been able to take me out. So we got a little bit of a Jinx mini sweep at the end there. I was not banking on that. I kind of wanted Pikachu to pull a little bit of the work there, but I have been wanting to use that Jinx and Rain for a while, so at least I got that, and that's what's going on for this game. That's going to be the end of that one. So really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Both of our channel links will be in the description. You are more than welcome to check either of us out. And that's going to do it out of me, Mosh Pit. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll check you guys out on the next one. Later.